what's on DTI's plate this year? What's keeping you busy? I know there are many things that we've been talking about, but maybe can you list some of your priorities at the department?
Well, my real interest is in implementing our industrialization policy.
Okay.
And the integration of trade policy and industrial policy. See, we want to be an export-oriented country, but to be able to produce the export products, we need investments.
Okay.
And the investments can come locally from domestic investors, but more importantly, if you're talking of scale, from international investors. So that's how we can develop a vibrant export sector. Well, the old approach was our cottage industries,
Right.
That will continue,
Right.
but we will help our small producers increase their productivity with the use of science, technology, and innovation. And we have the programs for doing that. And hopefully they can also participate. Some will be direct exporters, but I envision that many more will be suppliers to the large industries that will set up here.
Right.
We want to have an ecosystem of companies participating in the value chain of a major industry.
Right.
And I'd like to be able to pursue that more vigorously. Only problem is there's so much time being demanded by the need to address the immediate issues, of consumer protection,
Right.
Protecting them from undue increases in prices. There are
Right.
a number of programs that I'm pursuing
Right.
for that purpose. But we need to focus on industrialization and shift our economy from being consumption-driven to one led by industrialization.
Is there a particular sector that needs more attention than the others to realize that dream of industrialization, Secretary?
I think we can start with what we have already. We are a major
Okay.
exporter of electronics,
Okay.
products, semiconductors.
Okay, that's something to build on.
Yeah. So we just build on this, go up the value chain. Right
Okay.
now we're just doing assembly and testing.
Right.
But we need to produce
Right.
at some point the wafer,
Right.
that goes into the semiconductor manufacturing or the IC design.
Right.
More sophisticated involvement in the digital world. Aerospace, we have a major MRO company, Lufthansa Techniques, operating
yes.
here and still expanding. I visited their operation recently, and I saw the servicing of the biggest aircraft in the world, the Airbus 380 Series 800. They have that capability and becoming popular, among airlines. That's the other area, aerospace, And then the processing of our mineral ores.
Okay.
We cannot just be exporting
Of raw materials,
raw ores,
Yeah.
and leave the value creation to our importing companies. We need to add and create the values right here and export semi-finished products, maybe initially, and eventually finished products.
Right.
Some cathode or components of battery, but eventually we need to build the batteries here because we have the key ingredient, the key raw material for battery making, which is nickel,
Right.
an important green metal. We have copper also. That's very much needed in the electronics industry.
Yeah.
So related to this will be the electric vehicles that we can that we are aspiring to develop as an industry in the Philippines.
I know there's an EO for that.
No, there's a law, EVIDA.
Yeah, but there was also an executive order that I think the NEDA announced to encourage more EV usage here. But
That was the EO on reducing the tariff on importation of EVs down to zero.
Yeah, but the thing that confused me there was that if we are trying to encourage manufacturing, why are we not giving it to that tariff privilege to CBDs. I mean, completely built up units rather than knock down.
It's stage by stage, you know.
Okay. So this is a phase.
You need the critical mass of electric vehicles in the country to encourage the setting up of charging stations.
Okay.
Okay, if you have that ecosystem
And then you
already,
go to the next
then
one.
you go back, integrate backward, and do assembly here.
Right. Right.
And then eventually production of some of the components.
Right.
We're producing number of the components already, like wiring harnesses.
Right.
We're a big exporter of
Yazaki Torres, I
wiring.
think, is one of the biggest.
Yazaki Torres type.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And batteries.
Yes.
The cost of battery is half the cost of an electric vehicle.
Right.
So if we can produce that locally.
Sure.
And then, of course, the other area, we need to further improve our IT BPM operation to go up the higher
I see.
levels of value,
Yeah.
the higher value ranks of the ladder. You know.
And as you said, hopefully we will be exporting these things. But the key there is also what you have been working on, which is the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, right? To open up these markets.
Yeah.
You know, we've been talking about that for many months now. What's the latest that you?
Well, the latest is that it has already been sponsored by no less than the Senate President and the Senate President Pro Tempore on the floors of the Senate last week. I was there, and after this interview, I will have to rush to the Senate for the further deliberation.
Right.
Hopefully, we can get it done, because we need RCEP. If I were to succeed, you know, in making the Philippines the industry hub for a number of sectors. You know?
Yeah. You need that.
Like we have in mind, you know, we need that for buying components and for exporting in the region and in the countries that are part of RCEP. You know?
Yeah, but how hard has it been, Secretary, to convince people to have this mindset of yours, which is to go after the possibility so we can sell to other markets? Because the objections to RCEP has been the fears that, you know, foreigners would come in and compete with our local industries. But they don't mention the possibility of us going outside, right? How hard has it been to...
the mindset of just worrying about our being at the receiving end, you know?
Yeah.
But we can be more proactive, and as I already mentioned, we can produce here and export from here.
Yeah.
And we need RCEP for that purpose.
Right, right.
In most of our meetings with prospective international investors, talking about their investing in the Philippines, that's a major question always. When are you joining RCEP? You know?
Right.
Because without RCEP, it doesn't make sense for them to use the Philippines as a manufacturing hub.
Right.
Because they'll not be competitive in selling to the region.
Right.
And the 5 non-regional countries that are members of RCEP.
Right. Wow, and I think you were correcting me earlier, because I was saying that only the Philippines and Myanmar are the left outs, but you said that Myanmar doesn't count because
it's not an original signatory.
So we're technically the Philippines is the only one that has not yet ratified it.
Yes, among the 15 countries that originally agreed to go into this partnership, only the Philippines has not ratified the agreement.
Well, I hope
so we're odd man out so far, but I hope not for long. You know?
Not for long. You're working on other free trade agreements that are similar. Could you talk about that? I know there's one in Europe that's been...
hopefully Korea, I'll be able to sign soon.
Okay.
Because that's in an advanced stage. We're in the process of reviewing our free trade agreement with Japan.
Okay.
We call it GPEPA.
Yeah.
Philippine-Japan Economic Cooperation Partnership Agreement, GPEPA. And then we are in the process of getting our GSP Plus coverage
for Europe
by EU.
Yeah.
I've gone on a mission to EU, met with my counterpart there in the EU Council and the EU Council and the EU Parliament. You know, then the US has also. We need the US to renew our coverage under US GSP, which expired in December 2020.
Oh, okay.
So we don't have that preferential tariff arrangement with the U.S.
Okay.
And I think we will eventually get that renewal.
Okay.
But I told my counterpart, the Secretary of Trade, Gina Raimundo, that and my counterpart when it comes to trade, the U.S. Trade Representative Catherine Tai, that beyond GSP, we want to resume our negotiation for a free trade agreement to have a more permanent platform to seal our trade relationship.
What are the challenges? What have been the stumbling blocks? I mean, I think kind of ironic because of our internal history with the U.S., right?
Yeah, they're all internal constraints in the U.S.
I see.
You know? Like
So
the President Biden has announced no more free trade agreement with anybody.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll have to go around that and see, you know?
Right.
We can, if we can still pursue an FTA.
And
with
Europe,
US.
Europe is an important one also.
It is because there are products being produced here that are being sold to the European market.
Am I not correct? 6,000 something plus products that benefit from
Yes,
EU
but we're not
GSP?
utilizing all those tariff lines, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, again,
But significant amount.
yeah. And that's the question, Secretary. Why are we not doing that? I mean, what's the...
Well,
I guess that's what you're working on, right? The bottlenecks.
We need the manufacturers, you know?
Yeah.
We need the investors to put up the manufacturing facility.
I
They
see.
will produce those products here.
Yeah.
They can be local investors or foreign investors.
Are you getting positive signals from EU about the possibility of getting
Yes,
that
we
renewed?
made long presentation and representation. Also, a contingent of our legislators went to the EU
Yeah.
to lobby for the renewal of our GSP Plus
Right.
coverage.
Right.
Well, one selling point that I've emphasized is that culturally, the Philippines is the most akin to Europe, you know,
Yeah.
in ASEAN and
Right.
Southeast Asia,
Right.
given our background, you know.
Right. Yes. Formerly
colonized by
Spain. Yeah.
by Spain, and you know the Christian culture that we
Yes.
have. You know, I'm not talking of religion, but
Right,
the
right.
culture. You know.
Well, Secretary, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I'm glad that we finally had this, and I'll already extend my advance invitation for another interview when the occasion warrants and when your time allows. But Secretary, before we go, maybe you'd like to leave a message for our guests.
Well, I'd like to encourage our small businessmen to work with us in DTI. We have the facilities, we have the negotiation centers, we have the regional inclusive innovation centers. We can make arrangements for you to link up with bigger companies for mentoring or for possible supply arrangements or distribution arrangements. So let's work together. I'd like also to invite our domestic investors to work closely with foreign companies that can bring new technology to the country. I think many foreign investors would want a reliable partner in the country for them to enter, so you can do your important part, you know, in bringing this partnership to be able to set up new industries in the Philippines. We have challenges ahead, but I'm sure if we work together and support each other, we can tackle these challenges and we can make investments happen in the Philippines.
Thanks, sir. Thank you very much. And I guess you heard it from Sec Fred himself. The Philippines is open for business. Thank you to everyone watching this program live and watching the replay. Thank you also to Pastor Paul Kibuloy for making this program possible. This has been Business of Politics, and I'll see you next week.